Hey there, picture this. A group of college students heads to a remote cabin in the woods to party after finals. They're pumped for an epic weekend, but everything flips when they run into a creepy guy who looks like he's rotting alive. They bolt, not realizing the entire forest is crawling with a deadly virus. A group of 5 friends hits the road in a car. They're off to a secluded cabin in the hilly backwoods for a few days of chill vibes. On the way, they stop at a small store to grab some supplies. Paul spots a kid wearing a mask and tries to say hi, but out of nowhere, the kid, Dennis, bites his hand. The store owner runs out and tells Paul to wash the wound at a nearby pump, saying that's all the help he can offer. Paul cleans up while Bert heads into the store to stock up on beer. Then the store owner warns the group about some mysterious infection that hit a few tourists weeks ago. The friends don't take it too seriously, and after Bert fails to swipe a Snickers, they hop back in the car and keep going. Soon enough, they arrive at the lakeside cabin and realize there's barely any cell service. The couple, Jeff and Marcy, waste no time heading upstairs to get some alone time. Paul checks out the surroundings and spots Bert with a rifle slung over his shoulder. Bert brags that he bought the gun to practice survival skills, but he nearly shoots Paul by accident, which ticks Paul off, and he storms away. Bert starts a campfire and heads into the woods, hoping to hunt something edible. Meanwhile, Kern snaps pics of the lake, trying to post them online. Paul tells her to ditch the phone and soak in the natural beauty. She agrees, and they go for a swim together. While hunting, Bert's trying to bag his first catch when a man stumbles out of the woods. Bert panics and shoots him in the leg. Noticing the guy looks sick, Bert keeps his distance, promises to get help. But when he gets back to the cabin, he keeps quiet about it and slips into his room. That night, the friends sit around the fire, swapping stories. A stranger with a dog shows up, introducing himself as Grim. At first, they're not keen on company, but when Grim flashes a huge bag of weed, they warm up and invite him to join. Storm clouds roll in, so Grim takes off, and the group moves to the living room. Suddenly, there's a knock at the door. Jeff opens it to find the same guy from the woods. He begs for help, but Bert slams the door shut, warning everyone the guy's clearly sick. The man climbs into the group's car and locks the doors. Then he starts puking blood all over the interior. Bert grabs his rifle and shoots out a tire to scare him off. Paul smashes a window with a bat, and the guy crawls out. In a panic, Marcy douses him with kerosene, making him scream in pain since his skin is literally peeling off in places. Jeff grabs a burning log from the fireplace and rushes back. He accidentally drops it, setting the man on fire. The guy, screaming in agony, runs off into the night. Shaken, the friends try to convince themselves it was self-defense. Kern suggests calling the cops, but they decide to fix the car first before seeking help. The next morning, they hash out a plan. Things get heated as they argue over who's to blame, and Marcy, fed up, storms off to find help alone. Meanwhile, Paul tries to comfort Kern. He hands her a glass of tap water and promises everything will work out, and they'll be home soon.
Oh, they won't be coming now.
Jeff and Bert trek a few miles looking for help. They come across a barn where an old lady is butchering a pig, complaining it's the 3rd sick one she's dealt with. She agrees to help and invites them into her house. She offers them water and asks what happened. They explain a crazy guy attacked them, but they managed to chase him off, though he trashed their car. The woman shows them a photo of her cousin Henry, who went missing days ago. Realizing they killed him, the guys ditch her offer and bolt, running into Marcy outside. Meanwhile, Paul meets a deputy sheriff named Winston. The deputy tries to piece together what happened to the car. Paul explains a sick guy attacked them, but they fought him off. Winston promises to sort it out and send a tow truck. The friends return to the cabin and start cleaning the blood-soaked car. Then Grim's infected dog shows up, but Marcy scares it off with a few rifle shots. Kern, feeling ill, heads to her room. Later, Paul checks on her, and Kern suggests they lie down together. They start kissing, and Paul, not wasting the moment, slides his hand down her leg. She flinches in pain and stops him. It turns out she's showing signs of the disease.
Oh my God.
The others rush in and see the infection on Kern's legs. Fearing it'll spread, Bert herds everyone out and locks her in the room, promising they'll get help soon. They check each other for signs of infection and decide Karen needs to be quarantined. They move her to a shed and assure her someone will stay nearby to keep her safe. Paul realizes they can't wait and sets off for help. He spots a minivan and peeks through the window. A woman catches him, accusing him of spying on her and her husband getting intimate. Paul tries to explain he needs help, but the couple won't listen and chases him off with gunfire. He heads back to the cabin where the group plans their next move, while Karen snaps photos inside the shed. Marcy cooks dinner, but no one trusts the food. They start arguing, and Jeff insists anyone could be infected, refusing to even share a bed with Marcy. Then the infected dog attacks the shed, and they drive it off to protect Karen. The next morning, Marcy and Paul check on Karen. When they open the door, they see her covered in rotting skin.
Wow.
Bert manages to fix the car's engine, and they prepare to leave. But Jeff refuses to ride with Karen. Bert, now showing signs of infection, knows there's no time for arguments and drives off alone for help. Jeff returns to the cabin, washes up, grabs some beer, and heads into the woods to stay far from the disease. Marcy and Paul are left alone. Terrified they'll all die, Marcy breaks down and Paul comforts her. One thing leads to another, and they hook up.
If not now, when?
Meanwhile, Bert reaches the store and begs for help. Dennis, the kid, attacks and bites him again. The store owner sees his son is now infected, grabs a gun, and Bert has no choice but to jump in the car and peel out. The locals pile into a truck and chase Bert, determined to hunt down all the infected to stop the virus. Back at the cabin, Paul notices Marcy's sick. He goes looking for Jeff while Marcy decides to take a bath. Bad move. Her skin starts falling off in chunks. Paul searches for Jeff by the lake when the man they set on fire lunges at him, trying to drag him underwater. Paul breaks free and realizes the virus is in the lake. Marcy steps outside and gets mauled by the infected dog. When Paul returns, he finds only her remains. He hears Karen's screams as the dog tears her apart in the shed. Paul kills the dog, then hears Karen beg him to end her suffering. He tries to shoot her, but the rifle jams. Grabbing a shovel, he hits her in the face, but she's still alive. She pleads not to be left like this, so Paul douses her with kerosene and sets her on fire. What a pal. Paul runs into Bert, but the locals show up and gun Bert down. Paul grabs the rifle, which works this time, and takes out the locals in one burst. He jumps in their truck and drives off, but, distracted by his infected hand, crashes into a tree. Later, he stumbles across Winston. Paul demands to know why no help came. Just then, the sheriff radios Winston, reporting a shootout at the cabin and confirming the city kids are infected with a deadly virus, ordering him to shoot on sight. Winston seems to take pity on Paul and tells him to head back to the cabin via a shortcut through the woods. Paul follows the route, but soon realizes Winston lied and he's lost. The next morning, Jeff returns to the cabin, totally confused by the chaos he finds. He celebrates surviving, only to discover he's infected too. Seconds later, Winston shoots him dead. Paul never makes it out of the woods and dies too. The police arrive, and an investigation begins. Meanwhile, Karen's friend scrolls through her social media and finds horrifying photos of the sick girl uploaded just before she died, and that's where the movie ends. What a grim, intense weekend for these characters. Honestly, I kinda liked the movie. On one hand, it nails the creepy atmosphere, and the infection scenes are genuinely unsettling. Director knows how to make you squirm. But, let's be real, it's a bit dumb at times. Some of the characters' choices are total facepalm material, and the dialogue can feel super cheesy. Still, if you're into gory horror with a side of dark humor, it's a solid pick for a spooky night in. What do you think of Cabin Fever? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe if you're ready for more horror breakdowns.